this one. All right, there's 2 green circles, I promise. All right, I have no disclosures, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so I'm a microsurgeon, and I am actually involved in developing robotic deep flaps, so I'm not adverse to minimally invasive surgery. I celebrate them. But my task here today is really to show you the power of the original tummy tuck. And so there seems to be some kind of urban legend out there, especially around the public, that plastic surgeons don't create scars. This is obviously completely false. In fact, I can't really think of any other specialty that creates more scars than we do. And so this is one of my partners who I like to think of as like the Dolly Parton of plastic surgery, meaning that he has amazing quotes all the time. And so whenever a patient asks him about a scar, this is what he'll tell him. So we have this thing about trading scars for shape, and that's what we say in plastic surgery. And these are a couple of my tummy tuck patients, and I promise you they did have rectus diastasis. I'm going to placate the rectus on all my tummy tucks, but obviously the bigger issue here is the excess fat and skin. And so I promise you, they don't care about the scars. They're asking me and saving up their money for me to give them more scars. And there really is no difference out there from the guidelines. They're just not going to show any kind of differences in complication rates or recurrence rates. And this is from general surgery perspectives as well as plastic surgery perspectives. And I felt like this article really hit the nail on the head. So when you're really trying to identify the optimal approach for repair, you really want to look at the patient's desired treatment outcome. So if they have excess subcutaneous tissue and they want that removed, then you really need to steer them more towards abdominoplasty. But if they have this emphasis on shorter recovery time, smaller incisions, or they just love the idea of the robot or whatever it is that you're using, a more minimally invasive approach may be better. And so who is rectus diastasis? I couldn't really find a lot of great data on this, but most of the studies are really looking at women, and especially multiparous women. I saw one study on men, a lot of guys with AAA, with their regular kind of peripheral arterial disease patients, not as much. So if you combine this female population, and then at least half of us are all overweight or obese. But for women, we have this higher increased subcutaneous fat, and that's nice for body contouring procedures. I'm not super excited about trying to liposuck someone's visceral fat, and also they're going to be too tight to contour anyway. But even for thin women, they obviously can have excess skin after pregnancy, and so really we're going to oftentimes see that diastasis recti is going to be combined with either excess skin or subcutaneous tissue. However, there are some patients that could benefit from scola. So if a patient does not have excess skin and fat, or if they just don't care, then sure, maybe that's a patient that's a good for scola. So like any good physician, when I was preparing for this talk, I did a very robust Google search, and I found this guy. So this is an Italian surgeon, and he's doing robotic ventral hernia repairs and rectus diastasis repairs, and he actually has these really beautiful results, and I was starting to feel kind of crazy. I was like, how does this guy have such amazing results from just robotic repair and not combining them with abdominal contouring techniques? And the answer is he's not. He's combining them with techniques, okay? So all of these patients had what he's calling a suprapubic facelift. So he's doing excision. He's also doing liposuction. Every single one of these patients, excision, liposuction combined with these robotic techniques. And he's doing actually really high levels. So this is a high definition liposuction. This is a really high level of liposuction where you're actually trying to go extremely thin to replicate the abdominal wall musculature. And you have to be really careful. You can give people really funky results with this, and you can also do a lot of damage to the skin. Here he's done fat grafting to the belly button. How often have you guys done that? And this patient, he just straight up did a tummy tuck on. Okay, so he has beautiful results, but they are not just robotic repairs or just minimally invasive techniques alone. Okay, so this guy will give you, did not require excision to skin. I don't see this guy that often, but have at it. So one thing I just want to be clear about is that you really want to have standardized photos when you're looking at things kind of aesthetically. And what drives me crazy, this is my pet peeve on the right, these are all patients in Miami, which is our medical tourism. I see these patients constantly for their complications when I'm on call. So this is your BBL, your Brazilian butt lift, or where we do gluteal fat grafting, you do a liposuction, and then you inject that fat. These are all on-table results. That does not count. You could literally inject motor oil, get the same result on the table, and then if you slather them down in mineral oil, That also drives me crazy. So you want to have standardized plastic surgery to show all the scars. You have standard lighting, and you want to at least, if you can, have greater than 3-month results. When we do our boards and plastics, we are required to have 3-month results. And if you don't have them, you have to present another couple cases for your boards. So I paid a patient $300 to come back for photos. I paid them like a drug dealer in the hallway in cash, and I didn't have to present another couple cases. So again, that scar is made to remove excess skin, not to repair the diastasis. Really, literally any incision that you need to remove the excess skin, you can repair the diastasis through. And just like in laparoscopy, all 5s are free, well, old scars are also free for plastic. So this is a Phanon steel, and this is how they access the rectus diastasis, and they also did some contouring techniques. And so that scar, she has it. You can use it. It doesn't really help you to not use it, and oftentimes you can make them better scars. Is there an issue with drains? I honestly, I love drains and just never going to not use them, but you can do progressive tension sutures to not use drains. You can also use glue. So here's my little flow sheet. So does someone have rectus diastasis? Do they have excess skin? And would they like it removed? Then refer them for abdominoplasty. If it's no to those things, then sure, do scola. However, if they don't have rectus diastasis, they can also have a really great benefit from abdominoplasty. And if they're showing up in your clinic and they don't have rectus diastasis, they don't have excess skin and tissue, and they're asking for these techniques, I urge you not to operate, and you refer them to psych for body dysmorphic disorder. So, for real. So for the ideal scola patient, again, no excess skin or subcutaneous tissue, or if the patient has it, they don't care about their aesthetic result. And these things do not equate to a replacement of abdominoplasty. And just a word of caution for you guys going down this line. This is an aesthetic patient. It can be a challenging patient population, and I promise you, she cares how she looks, okay? And this damaged skin does not retract, and in fact, it gets damaged really easily. So this was when I first started working, and this is a patient on call. This is another BBL from Miami, and so she didn't have a scola, but it just kind of shows you that this stretched mark skin is very easily damaged. This is too superficial liposuction, and it killed all of this skin. Now, this patient paid for this to be done to her, okay? So just some results from my tummy tucks. Okay, so big scars, absolutely, I acknowledge that. But these women are saving up money for me to give them more scars. And these are your standardized abdominoplasty or rectus diastasis series. Okay, so it's a lot of photos and it's a lot of intellectual honesty as to what those look like. And so this is a patient at massive weight loss. And I can capture this patient, I can do a whole transformation for her. So not only can I do her tummy tuck, I can do her breasts later, and then also she's, again, saving up money for me to do her thighs and then also do back lifts on her. I do this also essentially for my deeps. I'm gonna placate them too. I want them to look good. I want them to have a transformation. And this is one of my deep patients who her whole life was completely transformed after she had a deep flap. She obviously went on to lose a lot of weight, including a lot of my deep flap, but she cries every time I see her. She's so happy. She now apparently makes twice as much money at a job that she equates to increased confidence. So it's really transformed her life. So again, excess skin and fat, that's going to be abdominoplasty. And just a little teaser for a Saturday session. This is a patient that had a really unfortunate patient, had a liposuction catastrophe. And so tune in to see what Dr. Rosen and I did to help her out. Thank you so much. Those are my references.